Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Hardimah Said. I will be presenting with my colleague here, Dr. Nordiana Zakir, on our research on the higher education institution, academician perceptions and experiences on professional practices in post-pandemic COVID-19. We are from the Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah Institute of Education from the University Brunei Darussalam. Let me begin our presentation by providing you the context of Brunei and also in relation to the COVID-19. As you can see in the map here, Brunei is actually in the red box there. It's a small country of a population less than 500,000. We are surrounded by Malaysian state, and we experienced our first wave COVID back in March 2020 until May 2020. So about only 3 months, and we managed to have a zero local transmission of COVID for the next 15 months until we get our second wave COVID in August 2021. So in Brunei Darussalam, during the pandemic COVID-19, we managed to have a whole nation approach where all the ministries, government sectors, private sectors, including schools and higher institutions, managed to work together, and partly we also did work from home policy, and then we underwent, and we actually still undergoing our educational changes due to the pandemic of COVID-19. Because of that, we are interested to find out the perception and experiences of academician in our institute, in our university here, on how they have been experiencing the value of the professional practices during the post-pandemic COVID-19. Hence this research. The way we collected our study here, we collected our data via online survey, and we managed to get about 38 respondents, a range from lecturers, assistant professor, and up to professor. And then we followed up with interview with 10 of them. In terms of doing our analysis of our finding, we have used the interpretivist approach, where this allow us to had a better understanding on our data, as well as able to interpret it's more reliable, because we understand how our university is, the system of our university, as well as we also at the same time involved with the and being responsible in our professional practice as our part of our job here. And so we think that is actually adding a value to our data in terms of its reliability and as well as its validity. So next, I'm going to share our finding. We had 4 main themes from the data of the survey as well as our interview. These 4 themes are sustaining innovative, flexible practices such as school-life balance and blended learning. Second one, we see it in terms of the value of professional practice. The third one is the kind of support received in the professional practice. And the fourth theme is experiences in relation to engagement with industries or school. Let me share our first theme, the finding, which is in terms of the flexible practices and blended learning. In one of our respondents, they said they try to accommodate teaching online as a result of this pandemic COVID-19, and they adapt as much as they can. And they also use a mixture of teaching practices. So as you can see in this slide from the respondent number 4, during the interview, he said that he's using a mixture of practices using Kahoot and also live lecture. In terms of our second team in the value of professional practice, we identified both sides, positive and negative. In terms of positive, the respondent was saying they feel comfortable and as well as at ease with online teaching. As you can see, a quote from respondent number 3 here. However, we also had a negative responses. As you can see again from respondent number 5, this person was saying that teaching should be done in person, and doing online is just because of the convenience. And I think in terms of the well-being also affecting, and that is seen as a negative value, as we can see from the respondent number 1 here, where he or she indicated there is no time limit to work because you tend to go overhead with, is this your work time or is this your free time? Okay, so that's in terms of the value of professional practice. Our third team was looking in terms of the kind of support received. From the survey, 2/3 of our respondent was saying they receive support from authorities of for their professional practice. This included where in our university, Brunei Darussalam, we had a center, teaching and learning center, TLC, and this center is responsible to provide workshop training to our academician. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, it was given to us. So that was the type of survey, the type of support that we received. And they also mentioned about even from our Institute of Education, we also provided workshop short training to academician to other faculties. However, 1/3 of our responses were saying there were a lack of support, such as in terms of giving training on how to be effective in online learning and online examination approaches, remote access to database for research, lack of support in terms of mental health, as well as support for online teaching delivery. That was from the survey. From the interview, kind of like a positive responses here. They said that they share knowledge with others, as you can see from the respondent, from one of the respondent here, where he or she said, I learned by myself or from my colleagues. So that the kind of support that they have claimed to be receiving. The next theme, in terms of experiences in relation to engagement with industries or schools, from the survey, we can see the impact of this COVID-19 pandemic is on international engagement and internship internationally, but not locally. They also an indication on an increase of engagement in transnational education TNE activities. And for some faculties, they claim this has allowed them to offer an online and distant internship and placement. Yeah. From the interview, they also emphasized that in terms of giving the student ability and skills on voicing out their opinions and composing their thinking, and also preparing them to be critical thinkers. So that was shared with the respondent. Yeah. And I think now I'll pass to my colleague, Dr. Nordiana, to further discuss on our study.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nordiana, and I'll be continuing the presentation on the discussion part. So as my colleague has presented earlier, that there are 4 main themes that were found. First was on sustaining innovative flexible practices, such as school-life balance and blended learning, the value of professional practice, the kind of support received in professional practice, and the experiences in relation to engagement with industries or schools. So the data has highlighted pressures for change to happen at the higher education institutions, not only before COVID, during and after. So according to FLIR 2021, these pressures for change do happen. And furthermore, there are suggestions for change when nowadays we are developing towards lifelong learning and model renewable and sustainable practices, such as towards a work-life balance and blended learning approach. And as a way forward, we happen to always rethink about the curriculum to ensure that our curriculum provides critical thinking skills and also credentialing. And for credentialing, we will be looking at who may need higher education credentials. And to follow through with the post-pandemic time, higher education institutions need to pay close attention to the proper selection of teaching methods to ensure continuous development of skills. And this is because in 2020 and 2021, with the global pandemic, it has proved that many of our practices are outdated and we are experiencing educational history and innovation. Fullen and Hargreaves have presented 4-component framework to understand the process of change development that professional practitioners go through in their professional development. And these components are the teacher's purpose, the teacher as a person, the real-world context in which the teachers work, and the culture of teaching, which is the working relationship with colleagues inside and outside higher education institution. If we look back at the second component in the study, which is the teacher as a person, it highlights that human beings are highly variable in nature as they have their own set of beliefs. Furthermore, when we look at Bridges addresses to the point that when there is a change, there is always transition, and it provides the basic equation to cover what change initiatives involve, which is change plus human beings, which equals to the transition. Bridges explained that transition is a stage where people, in this case professional practitioners, go through before launching the change. And it takes time, and this is where the phase where our practitioners are challenged with issues or problems surfacing with the new initiatives that our practitioners therefore are obliged to begin searching for solutions to the problems, informed by the 4 main framework elements of Fullen and Hargreaves presented earlier. So the context of where the professional practice work is unique, as the transition is unique for that particular context. Once our professional practitioners have tried the initiated change by showing their capability and have then changed their set of beliefs and attitudes, this change serves as a reflection to successful implementation of the initiated education reforms. And as a conclusion, this study has shown ways on how our academicians can balance the effective use of innovative, flexible approaches and the support towards the effective delivery of professional practice in the post-pandemic COVID-19 for higher education institutions. Change is inevitable and a continuous process, as education is a dynamic process. And we usually change because we would like to improve and develop high-quality, innovative educational programs with balanced teaching of theory and practical skills. Thank you very much. And this is our references that we have used, some of them. And thank you for listening. And these are our email addresses in case there's any questions or anything that you would like us to clarify on. Thank you very much.